Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, welcome and thank you for attending today's webinar on digital strategies in the CPG industry. The topic will be Crayola's successfully mastering their direct-to-consumer e-commerce sales with SEEBURGER. Our speaker today will be Donna Lippincott, Manager of EDI at Crayola Incorporated. Let me talk a little bit about the housekeeping items. The webcast will be recorded. We'd like for you to also send any of the questions you may have through the Q&A box, and we'll gladly answer some of those questions for you at the end. And also at the end, please give us some feedback and rate this webcast using the survey that will happen at the end of the session. From an agenda perspective, here's the path we're going to take. I will have speaker introductions, and then Donna will go into a great presentation regarding the direct-to-consumer omni-channel case study about a website called My Way. And in My Way, there's an opportunity for customers to go directly and purchase Crayola's products. And as you know, Crayola has a retail and e-tail arm, but this way they have a direct connection with the consumer, providing tailored products that are helping their consumers enjoy the experience with the Crayola brand. Then lastly, I'll give a high-level overview of SEEBURGER's role in the omni-channel space. At the end here, again, we'll have questions and answers and a survey that we'd like for you to fill out. For introductions, let me introduce Donna Lippincott. She's the Application Systems Analyst Manager at EDI. She's been with Crayola for approximately 38 years, I should say. She's managed many projects, including implemented JDE and SAP migration. She's been a SEEBURGER customer for approximately 8 years. Currently, she's responsible for all EDI integration with regards to trading partners, 3PL, and direct-to-consumer integration. My name is Brent Tisdale. I'm the VP of Omnichannel Sales. I've been in the IT space for about 30 years. I have a GE Six Sigma Green Belt background, which I leverage to understand business processes and see where we can leverage the technology to automate specific inefficiencies in the process in order for those business processes to yield the results they need for companies to be successful. And finally, I'm an author and a blogger. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is introduce Donna to talk about the My Way omni-channel case study.
So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. As Brent had indicated, I've been with Crayola for 38 years now. Crayola is headquartered in the Lehigh Valley. We started about on a creek down in Palmer making slate, more than 100 years ago. In 1984, Hallmark did buy us, and it has been a wonderful synergy of creativity and values that we've benefited all from the very beginning. We do have manufacturing systems worldwide. Our biggest facility, of course, is in Easton, Pennsylvania. We have another facility in Bethlehem, about 10 miles from here, and then Canada, across the border, and in Mexico. Worldwide, we are at about 1,500 employees, and of course, during our busy seasonal and back-to-school time, we do flex up with a flexible workforce. Crayola partnered with SEEBURGER starting actually as early as 2008, when we had made the decision to go do SAP and move off of our proprietary order entry and distribution systems. So SEEBURGER was highly rated. We do rely heavily on the Gartner and AMC, I think, ratings, and SEEBURGER was very highly rated. So we started that engagement in 2008. Bringing SEEBURGER in-house and modifying some of our communication strategies to support our new infrastructure. We did go live on, I think, January 3rd on 2010. Since that time, we have done 3 SEEBURGER upgrades. So it continues to be a great fit for our interfacing into SAP. So along about in 2015, then, after we've been humming along with our standard SAP system, we were approached with handling direct-to-consumer orders, which is certainly a different model than our traditional big box retailer full pallet load model. In addition, these orders would be coming from a totally external system. But the intent was that the consumer would go onto the Crayola My Way website, pick their product that they want to personalize, and by that they can mean adding images, picking a box design, picking what color crayons they want in the box, and things of that nature. And that system then needed to integrate into our in-house SAP delivery and order management system and ship from a Crayola run facility rather than a 3PL that generally specializes in small order pick and pack. So it is really an exciting site. I encourage you all to go out to the site and pick a design and pick your favorite colors. So the great challenge was we really did only have less than 6 months to meet this deadline, and it may sound like a long time for development, but some of that was picking a lot of the other vendors and partners that were required to support the website development. So in reality, that whole back-end integration, I will not say we had the luxury of 6 months to do that total integration. We did, when we say we integrated into multiple systems, it's not an understatement at all. So we have the original source order management system. The orders needed to be able to come into our domain through a different type of communication protocol, go into SEEBURGER to be successfully translated into SAP, feed into the SAP WM system, go into our whole delivery processing, and then interface to parcel post to fulfill the consumer order. Then we have the complete reverse of that. Once the product had actually been shipped direct to the consumer, obviously it's a reverse flow. It comes from SAP WM to SAP to SEEBURGER and then back out the door to the original source order management system. So we call it lots of links in the chains to fulfill these really cute and exciting products. So it's really fun. But what was new on the EDI team was that we would be processing XML messages directly. So we do have some other XML processes that go back and forth, but they generally had gone through a different transformation stage before they hit the SEEBURGER translator. So that was new development for our team. But again, we were still tasked with using our current software, our current staff, and building on that. And again, we are an SAP shop, so we needed to integrate into SAP. Okay, next. So again, I'm repeating myself a little bit here, but the XML messages, that was a huge undertaking, or a huge new development for my team. SEEBURGER was rated favorably in the top quadrant in Gartner. So when my managers came to me and said, can you do XML? Can SEEBURGER do XML? Of course I said, of course it can. SEEBURGER is an any-to-any translator. So from a development and implementation standpoint, we did need to license that component, and we did rely on some SEEBURGER consulting, but honestly it was quite minimal, and we got great direction, and they were very responsive as interface formats changed, because we were kind of developing to a moving target at some point of it. When we say that we needed to be near real time, again, the site is up 24/7 and consumers shop all hours of the day, but in reality, to be logical about it, orders do tend to come through in batches. There are certain stages in gatekeeping that happens along the way, and then as they get released, it could be like every 15 minutes we're scanning for data to pick up and feed into our SAP system. Again, if they will go into SAP like as soon as it comes in, but from a manufacturing or warehouse workflow, they are staged, because that's just what makes most sense for that part of the order fulfillment process. Again, we talk about the multiple back-end integrations, and the SAP, EDI, and all of the above. Again, we strive to implement systems with minimal enhancements and customized coding. I can say that we have since we've launched, again, we've upgraded SEEBURGER 3 times. Since we implemented this component, we've upgraded SEEBURGER 2 times, and we have added new functionality to that website and customized orders that honestly required. One piece of it did require some additional coding because the XML structure changed, but again, SEEBURGER handles that very well by changing our in-house structure. And we've rolled additional products out through that site, and that required actually no changes, no coding changes to our system. Just as usual, the extensive end-to-end testing, but that was no problem at all. Which leads me very nicely into how much we love message tracking here. The SEEBURGER message tracking and the Biz front-end tools both give us the visibility that we need to validate, very quickly validate that these orders did in fact go through the system successfully, and each time they are handed off to the next system, we have that visibility. Things are status, things are trapped at the correct place. The other, as a manager of this team, I did not want to add functionality that also added an additional burden to our normal production support duties, and this did not. The implementation of this XML component and for the My Way orders, I don't want to minimize it, but it was really more the same. We did not have to develop any additional production support strategies for it. So that was a good thing. And again, so to speak again, SEEBURGER, it has been highly rated by Gartner. They're in the top of the Magic Quadrant. It allowed us to implement this functionality without having to add, again, very important on my team, any additional burden for production support. Our business users that have access to SAP at the more technical level, when they look at an IDOC status, they'll look for the same success statuses as they had for any other inbound document. So that was the huge benefit for that. Okay, so this is, again, just to reiterate how often for the other types of things that we do use SEEBURGER for, we hand off to SAP, obviously, is our primary handoff, and we also integrate directly into our data warehouse, point of sale systems, and our, the big new one was at the eCommerce site. Okay, so now let's go to the real nitty-gritty of the, in the beginning, there was an order. So in the beginning, there is a consumer that is entering an order onto the website. That order can include both open stock and personalized items. Open stock, again, are fulfilled by a different 3PL that specializes in small orders and pick and pack. Anything that is personalized, and then that includes picking your own colors in a standard box, or taking a box and adding your own image with your own choice of colors or with the standard colors. So it kind of comes with all different combinations. You can add text, you can add names, you can change the color of the writing on the box, you can add the picture of your favorite child, pet, school team, sports team. It's just exciting to see somebody build an order like that. So again, it's pretty much of a normal then order management flow. After the split happens, to split orders that are going to be fulfilled from our CDC, and they come into our house, the regular ones that aren't fulfilled from our CDC, our DC go to the other warehouses. The personalized orders do go through an approval process, so that speaks to the near real time phase of this also. Orders, images are vetted for content and for just for content. I guess that's good enough. So that kind of is, again, one of the gates that I mentioned is for the order flow. So once SEEBURGER, so then the order finally gets in-house, and SEEBURGER receives it as an XML format. We translate that XML format into a standard SAP IDOC. Again, we utilize the SEEBURGER consultants for the initial setup. We needed some guidance. We needed to activate the XML license, and then needed some guidance on how to import the XML schema to create the in-house formats. We also did a little tweaking on how to build the message tracking map that would give us the information we need to troubleshoot or research. And again, I'll speak to how flexible and how versatile and how critical that tool is to our day-to-day production support. You know, we between the message tracking and then the biz front end, you know, we added filters and created special variants so that we could just bring up this particular business segment if the times when we are asked to verify, did such and such an order come in-house yet? So again, the message tracking map, you know, it gives us the visibility to the .coms transaction IDs, and then in addition to the SAP transaction ID. So it ties all those pieces together, because that is generally a big part of what our EDI team does in its production support role. We have the visibility into, you know, basically into the source document and to the final destination document, where, you know, other people of the company that support this application only see their slice of it, but using the message tracking tool, we are able to see all pieces of it. Okay, so once we get to SAP, we create a standard SAP IDOC. The caveat on this one is that we call it creates a delivery with no reference, meaning that there's no sales order behind it, because that sales order stays in the original source system. Then the DC that fulfills these is managed by SAP WM. So this delivery request then goes through another transformation process and creates a transfer order, and that's standard SAP WM terminology and usage. That document then has the complete bill of material that, you know, tells the person that fulfills the order to pick this box, put in these sleeves, we call it the sleeves of crayons for the combination of what colors you want, and then there's the image ID is embedded in that transaction, and a process is the boxes then get printed magically, as we call it. But it's all, you know, a lot of it's automated and it's barcoded, and it's another very exciting piece of the process to watch. So the warehouse staff picks and builds the product. They complete all their normal warehouse activities as far as shipping and confirming the order using standard SAP at that point. That SAP delivery then gets passed back up to SEEBURGER. It does go through another interface from SAP, so SAP WM to SAP PI, and then up to SEEBURGER, just because that was the nature of using pure SAP at that point. And our SEEBURGER translator then translates the delivery information back into the XML format that the originating source order management system requires. And it happens, it does happen 24 hours a day. Like I said, there are some gates and stops that go on just to better manage workflow and productivity. And then at the end of the day, there's a whole nother series of sales feeds that come in every night that are also XML to do the rest of the finance end of it. So it's a pretty, it's a very solid system, I will say that. We've had very few flips with it. Again, but we can see, part of our day-to-day production support is, you monitor for failed and stalled or terminated processes. And again, I just can't emphasize enough that while it was another business process to support from a production support aspect, we did not have to learn a new way to monitor production. So again, very, very happy that we were able to, I'm very happy with that result. So at the end of the day, we delivered this project on time, in budget. We did not incur any additional integration costs because we were able to use our own resources, again, and a minimal amount of SEEBURGER consulting hours. We did not need to purchase another middleware to handle this. SEEBURGER is an excellent any-to-any translator, or application to application, and I have listed quite a few that are all part of the links in the chain, as I call it. Again, it has proven to be a very adaptable integration solution. And I don't want to sound like a broken record when I say how wonderful the message tracking visibility tool is, and also I'll add to that, SEEBURGER's strong integration with SAP. So it was a very successful solution for us. And as I said, we just got through 3 rounds of testing for this process due to some enhancements and changes to the .com site, and just some other things that were going on in the company. Minimal changes. The only thing that was, there was only one of those 3 changes that actually required a change to our formatting, and that was because there was additional data elements that were being passed down to the picking order to be printed on the consumer packing list. I mean, that's really what it came down to. But very successful. So I look forward to if anybody does have any questions, please, send them through.
For sure.
Now
Excellent.
Turn it back to Brent.
Excellent. Thank you, Donna, for a very insightful presentation on how Crayola really leveraged an existing B2B platform and then stretched it, so to speak, by leveraging adapters and adding to an existing framework in order to connect to what the line of business is needed, which is to connect to e-commerce and moving into what we call the omni-channel world or digital transformation. 3 major takeaways from my perspective is you leverage one platform for all your integration needs, or again, from B2B to A to A. Who knows what's around the corner, maybe MFT. Number 2 is fast delivery to the marketplace, which is really important when you want to grab that market share. And as you mentioned, its adaptability is very critical in today's marketplace. If you're slow to move, then a competitor is going to move in that space quickly. And our platform gives Crayola that flexibility to move very quickly into that marketplace. And of course, from a CIO perspective, the real driver is how do you reduce project costs, right? How you don't add more hardware, more complexity to the system, more people, more skill sets. How do we leverage what we have to get more value? And that's what the biz environment provided for Crayola, so I do appreciate that. So moving forward, what I'm going to do is provide a very high-level presentation as to how SEEBURGER fits in this space called the omni-channel world, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. First, I'm going to talk about SEEBURGER. For those of you who are not familiar with SEEBURGER, I'm going to give you some context. SEEBURGER, some have asked me, where does the name come from? The name is the owner of the company, Mr. SEEBURGER. Started about 30 years ago. Now, the critical thing here is this. When you look at 30 years, you have to say, a lot of companies have been around for quite some time as well. But the critical point for us is, did we gain any insight from those 30 years? And the answer is yes, because the insights gained from what we learned, what was going on in the integration market, and where the market should be going in the future. So we were the only company that built from the ground up, no third-party software, a fully integrated hybrid bimodal multi-purpose integration platform. It handles both B2B, MFT, API, EAI, that full suite of integration, let's call it areas that must take place within organizations. And when you need that flexibility, that's what we provide. So when I say hybrid, that basically says that you can connect both on-premise and cloud type applications. Bimodal basically says you're going to keep the lights on with your traditional B2B, and at the same time, you can do your digital transformation as well with the mobile apps and the internet apps, etc. And then multi-purpose for sure is what I just defined. Some of the things that we find that the many companies who are in the omni-channel CPG world of digital transformation are looking for flexibility. Flexibility we provide it from an on-premise perspective. We also provide it from a cloud perspective, but more importantly, which we really have a great advantage at, we provide it as remote management. Remote management basically says this. If you decide you want to make the investment for on-premise, we also can provide remote management where we remotely manage your on-premise environment from afar, but at the same time manage the day-to-day operations for you. And from a success perspective, I think what companies are looking for is, do you handle a wide variety, or have you encountered a wide variety of integration scenarios? And we have, with over 10,000 customers crossing various industries, we have encountered many integration scenarios. And as a result, it gives us the experience to build up a large library of solutions that can help our customers get into the market quickly and not have to do a lot of coding as Crayola mentioned, Crayola did a lot more configuration and less coding, and that's what it's about in today's marketplace. Companies are looking for companies that have a international footprint. So if you're a regional footprint, we can handle a regional footprint. If you're international, as you see, we have 50 countries that we're in with 19 offices worldwide. And lastly, but certainly not least, is the fact that we're a low risk company. And what I mean by that is that we've been profitable since our inception. And what that translates into is that a sense of security, knowing that we're not going to be divested or acquired by other companies, as you've seen in this integration middleware space by other companies. Our company is self-funded, and we derive a lot of our direction from our customers and not from venture capitalists who want to take us in places maybe they perceive would be better, but we know what's best, and that's follow what our customers are taking us, and we build products that suit our customers' requirements. Now, what is our role in the omni-channel space? Before I talk about that, let's talk a little bit about omni-channel for those who are not really kind of familiar with it. Omni-channel really is part of that broad umbrella of digital transformation. Customers have evolved to this new digital technology, and they're entering in what we call a new path to purchase. Now, we're all familiar with the single path to purchase, and that's where customers, and we've had in the past, we shop at specific stores and we go into stores. As you can see over the past couple of months now, a lot of retail stores are now downsizing, or I call it right sizing. And it's not because they're losing sales per se, or we're losing sales as an aggregate. It's because a lot of consumers are going online and not going in stores, but there'll still be a core group of customers who are going into stores. So a lot of these retailers will still have storefronts, but they'll have less storefronts in reflection of the market that's driving their specific requirements. We also have multi-channel. So you go from single channel to multi-channel. Multi-channel just expands your channel where you're going to reach your customers, in this case, catalogs. Some of us remember JCPenney catalog, the Spiegel catalog, where you can get on the phone and make calls. And this is what happened in the past, not so much now anymore. And what we have today is what we call an omni-channel, where customers have access to multiple channels, where retailers and now CPG companies are now providing a reach out to customers, provide channels so that the particular customers can buy those products and experience that brand. So it can be through a store, mobile, catalog, kiosk, and what they're using are these digital devices. And the digital device path is called a new path to purchase, where consumers are going through a process of becoming aware, that is, knowing or becoming aware that a product is available, then researching that product, getting the price, and more importantly, getting a lot of reviews. A lot of customers are influenced by reviews. And then more importantly, making a purchase, doing a pickup. The pickups are not the same as they used to be in the past. Pickup used to go to a store, you buy from a store. Now you can make a consumer can pick up on, buy online, pick up at store, buy online, ship at home, buy online, ship at the workplace, buy online, ship to a dark store nearest to them. So there's many permutations of how pickup is taking place in the marketplace, and of course feedback, which is social media. Social media can be a plus or it can be a minus based on the path of purchase. So as you see, the path of purchase is like a red carpet of sorts. Your brand is the product, but now the definition of the brand is the experience of going through the awareness, the research, the purchasing, and the pickup. Now what you see is a linear approach here, but the truth is the real approach to the omni-channel new path of purchase is more complicated, as what you see here. You see that there's a lot of research going on, a lot of awareness going on in the first part of this particular slide. And what you see are the green dots are basically saying this is where the customer is gathering information. And where they're gathering it from is your back-end business systems. All the business systems you've acquired over the many years are housing all the information that these consumers want in real time. And then finally, once the consumer makes the decision, they're going to make it to a purchase. But one of the critical things that Tata Consulting said is that they said this: you have to win where the customers are shopping. And that's what Crayola did. They went to where the customers are shopping, and the customers are shopping online. And so that's why CPG companies and retailers are moving to online, because that's where the consumers are shopping. Once the consumers make a purchase, it is critically important that the fulfillment process is as accurate, timely, efficient, and as streamlined as the online ordering process, because you have to make a fulfillment as quickly as possible. It may be great that you can give the customer all the information that they're looking for, but if it takes 3, 4, 5 days to get the product, the consumer's not going to be happy. And as a result, if you see from this one quote that came from Consumer Goods Forum in 2015, and this is really critical, get fulfillment right across a full range of channels, and your customers will be satisfied. And I'll add, be delighted and be loyal. However, if you get it wrong, they will look elsewhere. And this is very true. So it's very critical that, yes, the awareness, the research, the front side, the digital side, the internet side works, but the fulfillment side has to work as efficiently as well. Now, what makes it kind of challenging? Well, it's a complex hybrid landscape that creates these omni-channel barriers. This landscape that you see here is kind of typical of some companies, retail companies, CPG companies, all have a mixture of very hybrid environments, cloud environments, on-platform environments. Some are homegrown, some are purchased, and so they all need various middleware to sit in the middle, to move the messages around, to translate the messages, to route the messages. Now, the challenge is a lot of these messages have been batched. Well, in the omni-channel world, the digital transformation world, it has to be digital. We're now in this high-speed information highway. We need to move the data as quickly as possible, because we all know when we're standing here with our smartphone, when we hit the enter key, we want information back immediately. We're not looking to put the smartphone back in our pocket and wait a couple of hours to get the information back. That won't work in today's world. But what happens is when you add layers of middleware, it creates complexities. Some of these complexities include the following. You get data anomalies. You have various different middleware that they don't talk to one another, they don't speak well, translations get lost, data flows into dark caverns that never come back. You get costly to maintain. Can you imagine multiple pieces of middleware? We have multiple different softwares, different people you may have hired for specific skill sets. They're trying to manage this kind of complex environment. That's going to be a specific problem for you, and it has to be able to go away as quickly as possible. You guys still with me? Looked like I had a technical thing happen.
Yeah, something popped up that said reconnect your drive.
Okay, can you see me now?
Yep.
All right, sorry, we're back there. Also, you get poor detection of demand changes. If there's a shipment that needs to come in, but you can't get the information from your logistics partner, there's going to be a demand change that your production facilities may not be aware of. So your production lines could go down. Here again, you get poor detection and resolution of exceptions. When there's an error, you need to respond very quickly. If you can't respond very quickly, that piece of information is sitting on the information highway. That consumer is still waiting with their smartphone or with their internet, waiting for the information. Here again, if they don't get it, they will move to the next particular provider of that particular product or service. And then you have poor collaboration. This is what happens in complex landscapes and complex environments. What we did as a company, we decided here is a solution that I said the vision that we were able to find for 30 years of working in complex integration environments or even simple integration environments. The vision was this: one platform that provides all the integration requirements that you would need. So the Business Integration Suite at a high level is a process-based integration platform that's well suited for centrally connecting a wide spectrum of all omnichannel integration scenarios. As I talked about on the far left-hand side, the B2B integration. We're talking about fulfillment that has to happen very quickly. So if you have long-tail providers, suppliers, I should say, who are still sending paper, get them automated. If you have your traditional high-revenue suppliers, here again, make sure all their business processes are automated, leveraging the B2B integration solution. Then you have your internet, your mobile, your application-to-application integration that has to move data inside the systems in a very synchronous way and sequential way, going across all platforms to provide that information immediately back to your consumers. This is the kind of platform that you need to give you that flexibility. And of course, MFT is a managed file transfer, which gives you the ability to take what we call unstructured data, spreadsheets, PowerPoints, Word documents, PDFs, all this knowledge worker tools that they need to move around the organization for planning purposes, forecasting purposes, resetting stores, etc. You bring it all into one platform that gives total visibility from end to end. And that, here again, consolidates the entire environment, makes it more streamlined and adaptable, which is what Crayola was able to do. So when you bring BIS, the Business Integration Server, into an omni-channel world, here are the critical advantages that you get. one platform for all your connections, both B2B, A2A, EAI, and MFT. Total lower cost of ownership because it simplifies processes. If you have a bimodal project that you're working on, the same digital team will be working from the same processes and the library of what we call workflows, and trading partners will all be working from that same tool set, as well as the people who are working with the B2B tool set. So therefore, you have a standardized, simplified environment. Very critical in today's world to be flexible and adaptable. Now, as I mentioned before, you're able to handle bimodal projects because you have multiple tools different tools, I'll say, being used by different people, but from the same platform. Now, you have one window for end-to-end monitoring, no matter if it's EAI, B2B, APIs, or MFT, one window to manage everything from end to end. So if anything is an exception, you're not searching multiple locations to find out what happened and when did it happen, as it sits on the side of the road waiting for some emergency truck to come pick it up and fix it and put it back on the information highway. That is no longer acceptable in the omni-channel world. Maybe it was acceptable with the batch world, but no longer in the omni-channel world. And that's the flexibility that you're looking for. And last but not least is a single vendor accountability. You want to be able to take one hammer, so to speak, to one vendor versus going around searching for all the vendors to bring them into one room and figure out, well, who did what when. Now, that's not acceptable probably in today's omni-channel world. Today, you want one single vendor that can solve these problems as efficiently as possible. Now, if you were to take a look at what are the benefits if we were to go with something like this, and these are some of the benefits that we've seen some of our customers enjoy and experience. Now, faster time in the market, I talked about that because it's a configurable solution. So what that basically says is, as Crayola did, get to the market as quickly as possible to get that large share of the purse. That's very important. Connecting across multiple platforms here again, because we have all the adapters to connect to all the platforms. And what happens is specifically in the omni-channel world, you want to have access to the visibility of all your inventory, no matter where your stock keeping locations are. You need to know where's the inventory. So if a customer places an order now and a specific store doesn't have it, you need to go to a distribution center or to another dark store or another store to find that particular item and ship it as quickly as possible. That drives up customer satisfaction. And that goes in that complete inventory visibility. Your order fill rates go up. Staff productivity goes up because they're not searching around, looking around to figure out where is the inventory. Those days of searching around and looking for inventory has to go away. You have to have a central location for inventory collection, but tools that go out and collect all the inventory information and bring it to that central location. Staff productivity, configuration solution, I should say, lower development costs. One of the biggest strengths we have is it's a configurable solution. That means we're not doing a lot of coding. We're doing a specific platform that is configuration based, so you actually have ability to reduce your total labor cost. You're not bringing in specific skill sets to learn how to do specific fancy coding, and it may take a couple of months to get it up and operational. Here again, that's an approach that some companies may take, but other companies are being more nimble and quicker to the market because they need the agility to respond to the ever-changing omni-channel world. One of the critical things is, can we go out and consolidate all the various platforms that are in use today? Eliminate all the redundancy and come down to one solid platform. With that specific platform, be able to bring all your functionality together, all your business processes together under one platform. And what that does overall is reduce hardware costs, software costs, and even specific skill sets that you may not need at that particular time as you move forward to a more agile environment. And of course, last but not least, is when you're managing confidential information, intellectual property, you want to manage it upon an MFT environment, not numerous FTP sites that may not be accountable or auditable, where you want to bring all those rogue MFT sites up under one central location, now to put governance, policy management around it so that you can understand what documents are going where and can it go where, so you can manage your ability to reduce exposure to any news article that says this organization's data was breached, therefore all the information is available. That does destroy your brand. So what we're saying is, let's put it under a managed file transfer solution set so you can reduce your risk, reduce your exposure. So in summary, Crayola leveraged the BIZ platform to exceed its direct-to-consumer project goals, and that was, I think, certainly in the time frame that they wanted to deliver it in and the cost parameters that they wanted to work in, and it's really critical. SEEBURGER has the best suited multi-purpose integration platform for the market in the omni-channel world. And that's really proven by the flexibility that we bring, and that when you measure that against the need for omni-channel, flexibility and adaptability is very critical. The omni-channel world is a business model. That model is not settled in yet. It's going to probably take a couple more years until it really settles in, which means that there's got to be a constant changes to your business models, constant changes to your IT infrastructure. You need a system that has the flexibility to change as quickly as you need to change to maximize your penetration into the omni-channel marketplace. And finally, SEEBURGER is a brand you can depend upon. For many of you, you may not know SEEBURGER, maybe the first time you've heard of us, but what you do know are the names that do business with us. Brands like Crayola, 1-800-Flowers, Best Buy, Nutrisystem, Mercedes, HP. These are the brands that trust SEEBURGER, and I ask that you trust us as well. So if there are not any questions, we do appreciate the time you spent with us. This high-level overview of what Crayola was able to do in leveraging and moving very quickly from a traditional B2B environment, and then adding on the A2A or e-commerce environment to move into the omni-channel space, which really is part of that digital transformation. Sounds like there's no questions at this time, and we do thank you for your time. If you'd like to engage us any further, you have my contact information here. Thank you, Donna, very much for your time. And if there's any questions directed to you. All right. Take care. Have a good day. Thank you all.